It's early in the morning, and you feel the weight of the world pressing down before your feet even touch the floor. There's no excitement in waking up, no spark of hope for the day ahead. Instead, there's just that familiar heaviness, that feeling that you're already behind, even though the day hasn't even begun. Your mind races before you even open your eyes. Bills that need to be paid, problems you didn't solve yesterday, things you've been putting off for too long. It feels like no matter how hard you try, there's always something left undone, something slipping through your fingers. It's tiring, isn't it? And you start asking yourself, why does this always happen to me? But here's the thing. You're not alone in this. We've all been there. Feeling forgotten. Feeling like your dreams are slipping away because the road always seems closed. Like no matter how much you plan, how hard you work, life keeps throwing obstacles in your way. It's as if every step forward is met with two steps back. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Eli. He was strong and full of dreams. He wanted to leave his small village and travel far and wide to make a name for himself. Every night, he sat by a dim oil lamp and drew out his plans, thinking that tomorrow would be the day he finally started his journey. I'll follow this road, he said to himself. This is how I'll change my life. But, just like you, life had a different plan. One morning, after packing his things and saying goodbye, Eli set out with hope in his heart. But when he reached the river outside his village, the bridge that should have taken him across had fallen apart. The water was rushing too fast for him to cross, and there he stood, staring at the broken bridge, wondering how something so simple could stop him from moving forward. He walked home that day with his head down, wondering why it was so hard. He wanted a better life. But it seemed like the universe was telling him no. Days turned into weeks, and just as Eli thought he could finally try again, something else happened. His father fell from a ladder and was hurt, unable to walk for a while. Again, Eli's dreams were put on hold. But he didn't just give up. He stayed. He helped his family, took care of his father, and worked long hours in the fields. And still, every night, he sat by the same oil lamp, the same place where his plans used to be drawn. But now, it was just silent reflection. Why is this happening to me? Eli thought. Why does the road keep closing? It's easy to feel like the universe is against you when everything seems to be falling apart. But sometimes, it's not about the road you want. It's about the one you're being guided to. If you like this story, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, tell us where you are watching from, and stay connected to support our channel growth. A few months passed, and Eli, still carrying the weight of his own unspoken dreams, tried again. He heard of a caravan passing through the village. A merchant was looking for a strong helper. This was it. This was the chance Eli had been waiting for. But when the morning came, just as he was about to leave, disaster struck once more. His only donkey, the one he had planned to ride to the crossroads, was lying in the yard. It couldn't stand. Its legs were swollen, and there was no way to get to the caravan in time. Eli knelt beside the donkey, pressing his forehead against its side, asking the question that had been haunting him for months. Why, God? Why is every road I try to take blocked? The dream of a better life felt more distant than ever. He felt small, alone, and like the world was saying no to him at every turn. All his plans, his hopes, seemed to crumble every time he tried to move forward. And yet, there was no answer. No quick solution. Just silence. In that silence, Eli walked to the fields. He wasn't sure why. Maybe he needed to move, to get away from the heavy weight of his thoughts. As he walked near the edge of the field, he saw an old woman, bent over, tending to the soil. Her name was Dara, and she had lived alone for many years. She was known for her quiet, prayerful nature. She looked up when Eli approached, sensing his sadness. "Your steps are heavy today, child," she said gently. "What burdens your heart?" Eli sat down beside her, and the words spilled out. "I had a plan," he said. "I tried again and again. But every time, something stops me. Every time, something breaks." His voice cracked with frustration. "I don't know if I'm foolish or if the world is just against me." Dara listened without interrupting. Then, after a long pause, she reached into her pocket and pulled out 2 small seeds. "Take these," she said. "Plant one here, on the hard path where you walk every day. Plant the other by the stream where the earth is soft and dark. Then go home, work, rest, and come back to me in a few weeks." Eli was confused but did as she asked. He pressed one seed into the dry, cracked earth of the path, then the other into the moist soil near the stream. And then, with no answers and no clear direction, he went home. If you're struggling to see the point of your journey, know that there is purpose even in the waiting. Sometimes, we're just not meant to see it yet. Weeks passed, and Eli went about his life. The days were long, filled with work in the fields, helping his family, and doing the little tasks that had once seemed small but now felt bigger. He tried to keep his thoughts busy, his heart from growing too heavy, but it wasn't easy. The pain of unmet dreams still lingered in the background, like a shadow he couldn't shake. Then, one cool morning, something made him remember Dara's words. He walked back to the field, feeling a strange pull in his chest. The path he had walked so many times before was just as dry and cracked as it had been. But there, by the stream, where the earth was softer, he saw something. A small green plant had sprouted from the ground. It was fragile, but it was alive. Its leaves were bright, and its stem stood firm against the wind. Eli stood there, staring at it, his heart beating faster. He walked closer, kneeling down to examine it, his fingers gently brushing the leaves. This small plant, born from a seed he'd almost forgotten, was the first thing in months that felt like progress. Like life. As Eli stood up, Dara appeared, leaning on her stick, watching him closely. "Tell me what you see," she said softly. "One seed died," Eli said quietly. "The other one grew." "Why do you think that is?" Dara asked. Eli looked at the dry path, then back at the plant by the stream. "Because the ground by the stream was soft," he said slowly. "There was water. There was room to grow." Dara nodded, a faint smile on her lips. Sometimes, the road we choose for our dreams is too hard. We press our hopes into places where they can't grow. Do you think the seed was bad because it didn't grow on stone? Eli looked at her, his heart softening. "No," he whispered. Dara's eyes were gentle as she spoke again, her voice calm but strong. "A wiser hand than yours is guiding your life. Sometimes, the closed roads aren't against you. They may be leading you away from stone and towards soft ground you can't see yet." Eli stood there, feeling something shift inside him. All this time, he'd been pushing against the closed doors, trying to make things happen on his own terms. But maybe, just maybe, the closed roads weren't the enemy. Maybe they were guiding him to something better. If you feel like your dreams are dying on a hard road, take a moment to consider, what if that closed door is actually opening another path, one you can't see yet? Sometimes, we have to let go of control and trust that something better is being prepared for us. If you feel connected to this journey, stay with us. There's still more to come. From that day on, Eli's heart felt lighter. It wasn't that his dreams had suddenly become clear or that everything fell into place overnight. No, things still weren't easy. His father still needed care. The work in the fields was never ending. But Eli began to see the world a little differently. He had planted a seed, and he was tending to it, even if he didn't know what it would become. Each day, he would visit the small plant by the stream. He cleared the weeds, brought water, and made sure it was safe from harm. The plant was growing, but it was slow. And so was Eli's life. But he didn't mind anymore. He knew, deep down, that something was changing, even if it was just beneath the surface. The seasons passed, as they always do, and the plant by the stream grew into a sturdy little tree. Its roots dug deep into the soil, and its branches stretched wide, offering shade to anyone who passed by. Birds rested in its branches, children played under it, and travelers found a quiet spot to rest. Eli had created something that brought peace to others, even though he hadn't planned for it to be this way. One day, a caravan passed by, and the leader, sick and weak from his travels, saw the tree and the little shelter Eli had built. He stopped. He rested. Eli offered him water and bread, and they talked for a while under the shade of the tree. As the leader lay there, looking up at the branches, he turned to Eli and said, "In all my travels, I've never seen a place so peaceful. Who built this?" Eli, his hands still dusty from working in the fields, smiled softly. "I only planted a seed and watched it grow," he said. The leader smiled back. "Stay near this road. Care for this place for all who pass by. I'll send you grain and oil every season. You and your family will never lack what you need." And so Eli did. He never became the traveler he once dreamed of being. Instead, he became the keeper of a quiet place, a place that brought rest and peace to those who needed it. Strangers found shelter, and Eli's home, though not filled with gold, was filled with a steady, quiet plenty. The road had come to him, after all. Sometimes, the life you're dreaming of isn't the life that's meant for you. And that's okay. The dreams you hold in your heart may need to grow in a different kind of soil, in a way you never imagined. If this part of the journey feels like yours, stay with us. Your story is still unfolding, and sometimes, what you need most is already growing, just beneath the surface. Years passed gently, like a quiet river that flows without rushing, carrying everything in its path towards something greater. Eli's life was simple, but it was rich in ways he hadn't expected. His tree had grown strong, and so had he. What once seemed like a dead end, a life full of closed roads and unfulfilled dreams, had transformed into something beautiful and steady. Children played under the tree, and travelers who had walked miles found rest beneath its branches. Eli's home was no longer filled with the promise of riches or fame, but with something deeper, the peace of knowing he was exactly where he needed to be. The quiet, unspoken dreams of his past had turned into a quiet purpose. And then, one evening, a familiar sound reached Eli's ears. Another caravan was passing through, this time larger than before. The leader of the caravan was sick, weak from the journey. Eli's heart immediately reached out, just as it had for every traveler before. He brought water, bread, and offered a place for the weary leader to rest. As the leader lay beneath the tree, his eyes traced the branches and then turned to Eli. "In all my travels," he said, his voice weak but full of gratitude, "I have never seen such a place. Such peace. Who built this?" Eli smiled, his hands rough from years of hard work, but his heart full. "I planted a seed," he said simply, "and I watched it grow." The leader nodded, a faint smile crossing his face. "Stay near this road," he said. "Care for this place for all who pass by. I will send you grain and oil every season. You and your family will never lack what you need." It wasn't gold. It wasn't the fame Eli had once dreamed of, but it was everything he needed. His family never went hungry. His home was always warm, and his heart, though not filled with the riches he once imagined, was full in a way he never thought possible. Eli looked up at the stars one evening, his back leaning against the sturdy trunk of the tree. He remembered the broken bridge, his father's fall, the lame donkey, and the moment he planted that first seed. He didn't feel forgotten anymore. He felt held, and he saw how every closed road, every detour, had brought him to this quiet place of peace. The journey wasn't about the dreams he had set out with. It was about something far richer, a quiet purpose that had grown from the seeds he had planted without even knowing what they would become. And so, Eli's story lived on, not in the gold he had imagined, but in the lives of those who found rest in the shade of his tree. His children and grandchildren played beneath its branches, unaware of the closed roads that had led their family to this moment. But Eli knew, and sometimes, when life didn't go as planned, he would place a small seed in their hands and simply say, "Wait and see where it will grow." Pause here for reflection sometimes. The dreams we hold in our hearts aren't the ones we were meant to live, and that's okay. What you're going through right now might be leading you towards something even better than you can imagine. Trust that the seeds you plant today will grow into something beautiful. You're not forgotten. You are being guided. If you've found peace in this journey, stay connected. Your path is unfolding, and sometimes the road you need most is the one you can't see yet. Keep going. The best is still ahead.